We are live. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Yo. We are here, the four of us, the four Beacon co-founders. Hopefully everyone is doing well. I have no idea who's on the stream. So
yeah, here, I can pull it up on the side. Look, let's give everybody a second to join.
Yeah, let's do that.
Coming at you live from Miami.
From Miami. There's a lot to talk about today. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on. What I will say that, one thing that we did want to talk about was Jangle's food ordering.
Oh, no, we didn't want to talk about that.
But
we had an eventful dinner, right?
we did have an eventful dinner.
I'm getting messages that there's echo on the stream.
Is there echo?
Yep. Let's see. We might have not muted one of the inputs.
There is a bit of echo in the room because there's a large space.
Oh, there's echo in the room. Oh, you know what? Let me turn down the gain on this one. That should be a little bit better.
Or worse. Find out.
Or worse.
Let's see. Let me throw. This in Discord and give everybody a chance to jump in. Let us know in chat how the audio sounds. I should not be echoing because I'm looking away from our secondary microphone.
Yeah. It might be me echoing.
Are you echoing?
Is there any echo when I'm speaking? We did debug this for the last hour.
Yeah, we've been doing this for like an hour.
It is also a little bit of an echoey.
It is an echoey room. And oddly enough, we still have chickens and roosters here. So Gabe has brought chickens and roosters with him. So
On the flight.
on the flight. Yeah, it is very large luggage.
Sweat Customs took so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, anyway, so yeah, there's probably maybe a little bit of echo, but not too terrible. I'm the least echo. Huh.
Chris, should we mute your mic and we should go back to the Andrew and I sharing this little guy and you and Gabe sharing that little guy?
We can do that.
That should kill the echo. Mute your mic for now.
I did mute
Okay. How's that?
now more echo again,
That's impossible.
which is crazy because like the only unfiltered.
Have we left any other mics on?
No, I'm muted. That laptop is muted.
Better. I think it's
Oh,
better.
Jangle better connect. That's what it was.
Okay.
All right, we're just gonna have to.
I guess we'll pass it. I guess
So yeah, you unclip that and then I'll
and then we
we'll
can
hold this right in the middle for us. Yeah. How does this sound? Let us know.
This is my personal least favorite trope in all of, like, when people are like, let me tell you about what I'm going to talk about in this 60-second short. Got it. Oh, I dislike this.
We spent probably a good hour trying to figure out how we could avoid holding the lav mics and not triggering Chris. So it'll be max pain for Chris. Much
That's okay.
better. Okay.
That's okay. I mean, it is what it is. And, we're here. We're all in Miami, which is a first for the four of us. So happy to have Gabe here. Gabe is no longer just a static image.
First time in the U.S.
First time in America. Let's talk about that, actually. Let's talk about that. So tell us about your first initial impressions of being in the United States.
Oh boy, this would be good.
Well, so far I've only seen a kind of mid-Cuban restaurant. That's about it, really. We've been working a lot on the business, not been out much yet, but I mean, it seems nice.
Yeah, I mean, Miami Airport, leaves a little bit to be desired, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah, it was a bit of a trek to get the luggage, but we got there in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, the Miami airport does an excellent cell phone parking lot.
Really?
All the lanes leading up to the airport are cell phone parking.
It's very convenient. It's streamlined.
It is
Nowhere
fairly
to find it.
streamlined. I personally haven't been to Miami in about 20 years, so it's nice to see how different, I guess, the landscape is. Not to dox us too much. We're actually out of the design district, but yeah, it's really cool to see how Miami has changed in 2 decades. Yeah, just happy to be here. Excited to meet all of our founding members and our other community members who are going to be with us in the next couple of days. So, a lot of interesting things happened over the last 24 to 48 hours. I think the first thing we'll talk about, Jangle, is just what in the pump just happened on Monday morning.
And did it contribute to your decisions at dinner?
No, it didn't contribute to any of my dietary choices. But I haven't really checked prices this morning, but we're still above 34K. Haven't really pulled back that much. I think that this Bitcoin pump, a lot of people have been sitting on the sidelines for months, kind of waiting for revisiting the cycle lows that we saw post FTX. I feel like I've got a little bit of extra insight because I talk to a lot of people every week around joining our community and our onchain mastermind, and a lot of people that I talk to are sidelined. They're fans of crypto, they're fans of Bitcoin, they're fans of Ethereum and L2s, but they're waiting for 25K to buy back in. It's like, oh, well, certainly we'll see 25K again. So I'll buy really heavy in that. Maybe we'll see 20K again. I'll be all in at 20K, 22K. And that's like a pretty prevailing sentiment amongst crypto natives. I think that what happened when there was that rumor from Cointelegraph, it was Cointelegraph, right?
Cointelegraph.
That maybe it was market manipulation, maybe it was a genuine mistake, whatever. They false reported that the Bitcoin ETFs were approved and ripped us immediately up from like 27K, 26.5K to 30K in like 2 minutes. Like it was just, a God candle that printed on the rumors of the ETF. And then it retraced a little bit. And then I think everybody realized, there's a lot of optimism and capital inflows waiting for the spot ETF approval. And so they, capital started flowing in. At a certain point, I commented in our Discord a week or so ago around the amount of volume on DeFi options. So on chain, there's a lot of perps, obviously DYDX, GMX, synthetics, those sorts of things on chain. But the DeFi traditional options market is starting to heat up, and it's actually on chain at all-time highs in terms of volume on chain. And on the centralized exchange side of things, options are gaining volume and momentum as well. So I think there could also be a bit of a gamma squeeze situation going on, where you have a lot of people selling deep out of the money call options on predominantly Bitcoin, but also ETH, not as much long tail altcoins, and those basically rapidly turning into in the money options that they then need to buy spot to cover those positions, which causes more buy pressure, which causes the price to go up, which causes more out of the money options sellers, call option sellers, to then have to cover those positions. So I think that we have a mix of a situation. If this is what my gut tells me, is a mix of a situation between a gamma squeeze, sideline crypto native money finding its way in, and then maybe a teensy bit of people who are not otherwise crypto engaged, who are looking to get exposure to the industry and obviously going to do that through Bitcoin. I think the most notable thing is Bitcoin dominance. The ETH BTC ratio at not obviously not an all-time low, but at a revisiting close to the levels of post FTX. I don't know if we can pull up the BTC, the ETH BTC chart, but that's definitely one to look at. And certainly BTC dominance breaking cycle highs as well. So that's my take.
Chris is pulling up the chart here.
There's your chart.
BTC dominance going up, eh?
Yeah, can we get the 1 day chart maybe on the ETH BTC ratio, or maybe the one day? Let's do 1 day, and then zoom out a little bit on here, and then Yeah, just shrink that. Let's get the big picture.
Come on, keep going, keep going.
We can get the 1 week candles if you want, and then zoom out. Let's maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good view. So obviously the ETH BTC ratio going parabolic during the last 75% of the last bull market, and that last low around 0.05, 0.055 cycle low from around the FTX times, FTX collapse time. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish from this point on the ETH BTC ratio, but I do think we could break below 0.05. It's entirely possible.
Do you think it's possible it could go much lower than that even? I mean, even if both assets are going up in price, if we see the Bitcoin ETF narrative really play out and there's a lot of capital inflow specifically into Bitcoin, it could cause the ratio to skew even harder, even if both assets are going up in price, right?
Yeah, to me, I think the probability of a spot ETH ETF and a staked ETH ETF goes up tremendously in the months following a spot Bitcoin ETF. Most of the reasoning for not approving the spot Bitcoin ETF up until this point has been, the market manipulation with the spot price, which is weird because we have futures ETFs, which settle ultimately to the spot price, which have been around for a while. So that argument doesn't make much sense to me. But yeah,
do you think ETH ETFs would have the same kind of narrative impact that a Bitcoin one would? Considering it's mainly TradFi money we're talking about here, and that's like kind of the big influencing factor why we think Bitcoin is going to an ETF would cause Bitcoin to take off so much.
I don't know. Do you see like large asset managers like Larry Fink getting behind ETH in the same way they do Bitcoin? I mean, Bitcoin is at this point like a macro asset, a flight to quality. Some
digital gold, basically.
And that is slowly becoming a consensus narrative, like amongst the broader financial community. ETH is a long way away from that. So, I mean, we've seen in the last 2 cycles, really, Bitcoin dominance leading the beginning of the bull market, and obviously dominating very heavily during the the 3rd and 4th year of the traditional cycle, during the accumulation phase and the capitulation phases of the historical cycle. So it's like not a surprise that Bitcoin dominance peaks at the beginning of a bull market. That's kind of to be expected, I think. I think the question is, at what point is it bottoming, and are you, if you're dabbling in alts or ETH, are you, thinking about rotating portfolio position? If that's your doing. For me, I'm much more heavily positioned with ETH. I think it does have more upside long term, but it's really tough to bottom tick the ETH BTC ratio. Below 5 is I don't think there's a lot of downside from here. I really don't think there's a lot of downside on the ETH BTC ratio below 0.5. I mean, below 0.04 would really blow my socks off.
Yeah, and I mean it's a lot harder for Bitcoin to gain 100% in price appreciation compared to ETH, because we're talking about a much smaller market cap, and also the actual price of it is much lower.
Yeah, but when you're talking about numbers like the amount of money that active like asset managers control,
that's got to be skewed towards Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, it's going to be skewed very heavily towards Bitcoin, I think, at this stage of the market cycle, and probably for at least next year. I would say, yeah, the next year.
But yeah, ETH narrative is something to keep an eye on for ETFs as well going forward. Bitcoin is likely to be first.
Yeah, and looking at ETH from a fundamentals perspective as well, between the merge and Shanghai and 1559, so the completion of the merge and the drop in issuance that occurred from that, and the burn from 1559, the burn of gas fees drastically changed, I think, the profile of valuing ETH from a fundamental perspective, but also the proliferation of layer twos has kind of hurt the short-term to medium-term value proposition of ETH, because now you have all this abundant, cheap block space. It's kind of cannibalizing ETH mainnet, in a major way. You're looking at sort of the all-time high transaction volume of layer twos that are, you can do a lot of, liquidity is not as deep. If you're a major player, you're not there, but a lot of the transaction volume has gone to layer twos, kind of cannibalizing ETH's burn, which I think in the long term, you can sell wholesale block space to layer twos, and that you make a lot of money or burn, improve the fundamentals of ETH. But that's not going to play out until the bull market is really here. There's a lot more just demand overall for block space, especially with 4844, the EIP, the Ethereum improvement proposal that's going to drastically reduce the cost of running layer twos, which is going to further, in the short term, hurt Ethereum's ability to look attractive from a fundamental evaluation framework some of these asset managers might be looking at it with. So that's going to take, I think that's going to take some time to play out. I don't know if we're at the absolute bottom, but I just find it hard to believe that we see a sustained period of an ETH BTC ratio below 0.45. I mean, I've moved the goalpost here a little bit. 0.05 was my, kind of bedrock ETH BTC price for a long time. Like, we see 0.05, I'm kind of all in. And I still believe that we're still a little bit above that. But I do think it is possible we break below it. But I don't think we're breaking 30% below it. I think we might break, 5-10% below that. But I don't see any BTC ratio of 0.3 or 0.2. That would be, that would be really insane to me.
Do you think we're likely to see the liquid stake narrative move on to layer twos, like liquid stake AVAX or similar?
Liquid stake Sol.
Oh, yeah, like to all L1s?
Yeah.
They exist. Like Lido has, I think Lido's actually been deprecating their Sol staking, haven't they? Yeah, I think it's peanuts. I don't think it matters. But it could, but there's so much. We have a glut. That's the word I was looking for. Of block space. We have a lot of block space. We need applications. We need demand for block space.
Yeah.
And we had the opposite problem 2 years ago. We didn't have enough block space, and we had tons of demand.
And almost none of them are really profitable because gas is so cheap, and because there's much fewer transactions. There's really no income on the chain itself. It's mainly narrative plays that we've seen in the past year or so.
Yeah, it's speculation is the primary application.
Yeah,
it's featured out of bug. Yeah, that's Bitcoin dominance.
So, kind of a follow-up question or thought here. Something we talked about in the past is by the time you realize it's a bull market, you then look back and see that you were in a bull market for a while.
Sure. I think Bitcoin is technically a bull market right now. Just objectively from the technicals. It's like above the 200 week.
You're the first here.
Huh? Yeah, you heard it first.
It is about the bull market support band, yeah.
It's. Who knows if it's a bear market rally or the beginning of the bull market? You never know.
It hasn't tested support level after breaking through it.
Yeah. And hey, I'm not a chart guy. I'm just saying objectively, like it's above the 200 week, it's above the 20 week, like in that bull market, right?
Well, sustained rally above.
Yeah.
Is bull market size, yeah.
You want to find out if it's a sustained rally?
But we don't know if we have support until we test it.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, and by the way, thanks everybody who's we had some echo, so we're just using that mic right now. But
Okay. Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, I guess the sentiment is for anybody who's watching this, thanks for coming. Obviously, like and subscribe. We would love for you to do that. But what is if you're on the sidelines right now, is it time to start DCAing pretty heavily into it if you haven't?
It was really time a year ago.
Yeah,
there's no such thing as DCA heavy.
Yeah. So that's another thing. Like, okay, the DCA strategy on Bitcoin over the last 5 years is honestly not that impressive. It's a very volatile position, and if you're DCAing, then you're buying tops, and you're not heavily buying the bottom of the cycle, right? If you subscribe to cycle theory, which I don't think is law, but I think everybody does. So if everybody else, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
But it rhymes, yeah. If you pause your DCA when prices are low, then you are really effing it up, right?
That's the opposite.
So like if you have not been buying Bitcoin over the last, or ETH or any tech stocks or whatever assets you're trying to accumulate over the last 18 months, then like you are not DCAing. If you start buying now, you are trying to time the market, and you're probably not very good at it. So I don't know if you should be buying Bitcoin at 35K, Q4 2023. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But I'm not like necessarily selling in the 6 months before the halving at 50% off the previous cycle all-time high. That's not the point where I'm selling personally. So it's read into that however you will. But yeah, I mean, you do you. You.
That was the point I was. That's the point I was trying to get to the next.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of speculation. We're looking at possible movement on the iShares ETF. Looks like there could be some real bullish sentiment towards a decision soon. Honestly, do we think there's a decision soon, or is it still probably Q1 2024?
I'm still leaning Q1 2024, I think. I mean, it could be sooner. Who knows?
Am I muted here? How does this work?
That might. You're good.
Okay.
You're fine.
Yeah, the consensus is by January 10th. I believe is the deadline they need to make some sort of decision.
Is that the absolute final deadline?
No, I think they can push it back, but they need a reason.
Okay.
I bet they have one.
Well, yeah,
they
can
can
manufacture.
come up with any reason they want, yeah.
They could.
I mean, it's almost better for the market if they just string this out forever, right? Just never make a decision.
Well, they do actually have to make a decision.
But wouldn't it be great if they didn't?
No, I'd like to see the Bitcoin ETF come through.
Okay. The point I'm trying to make is everything in crypto always feels like a buy the rumor, sell the news.
It's like teasing an airdrop kind of, and just never.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're teasing the Bitcoin ETF airdrop.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to assume it's the top and sell as soon as it actually happens, and then we'll begin to see how it actually plays out on the fundamentals. Right now, we're just in a hype cycle or a narrative cycle, however you want to put it.
I don't know. It doesn't feel very hype. I felt euphoria, and this is not it. It's not. I mean, it's the CT timeline is a bit hot, yeah, but guys, we're 50% off all-time highs. Like,
yeah, it's also been pretty dry recently, so any reason to celebrate is going to get jumped on at this point in the market. Yeah,
fair.
Well, I mean, let's get to some news. But Kathy Wood's been selling her GBTC, so I guess.
What's the discount at? Can we pull up the GBTC discount here? Let's see.
We could think it was like 16%.
Yeah, but I think it's lower now. Here, I'll link it to you. Oh yeah, it's at 13.8.
13.8.
13.8. Here, I'll link it.
Still not interested, Django?
I just hate the product.
Yeah.
I just hate the product, so I'm not going to buy GBTC because it sucks. But and like at this point, what's you get a 13% upside against spot BTC for I don't know, the idea of holding Bitcoin in a product like this is just I can't do it. Can't do it. It's too bad.
Rather just hold Bitcoin.
Rather hold spot. Bitcoin and ETH.
Fair enough. So, rumor has it, fueling these things, that BlackRock plans to seed its spot Bitcoin ETF in October. This comes from multiple sources, but Eric Balkunas noticed something in the verbiage for when that's going to happen with the ETF amendment. So maybe that could be feeding some things into it. Whether or not it actually, amounts to anything, obviously there is some movement here. But along with that, also playing out is this news came this morning. The SEC has fined BlackRock $2.5 million for misreporting something from a different subsidiary. Obviously, nothing to do with the iShares.
Did you say
Trust.
2.5 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, that's like pocket change.
Yeah.
BlackRock.
I know we're on the flight to quality, right? This is just a small bit of turbulence.
That's not even a slap on the wrist. It's like a tickle.
Yeah, that's like driving over a ladybug on the interstate.
Yeah.
That's like
I mean, it's at least a parking ticket, right?
no.
No.
I mean, it's like a parking ticket to like Jay-Z.
to Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So BlackRock is the Jay-Z of the TradFi world.
I mean, kind of, right?
They got a New York state of mind.
Yeah, sure.
I like that. That's pretty good. I like that. Well, moving on to some of the other news that's out there that we can talk about. Ripple, interestingly, had the SEC dropped their cases against both Brad Garlinghouse and the other executives. There was a specific lawsuit against them. Sent XRP back up to a non.
Retraced.
I wouldn't say it's retraced, but it did get a little bit of a pump. Kind of retraced a little bit, mainly based on the news that it's possible that the reason why they're doing this is to specifically take pressure. Well, if they do this, this takes pressure off the appeal, I think is what I read. It could be just smoke and mirrors to try and allay fears, I guess. I don't know, but
I think that they don't have a case, so
They could, yeah.
so they're not. Didn't like their appeal get denied as well? Like a couple weeks ago.
yes.
Yeah.
So they're just ineffective. So I guess
They're just like whenever the SEC was suing someone, that used to be really bad news. Like there was something really bad going on. Nowadays, public sentiment seems to shift against the SEC, and they're losing court cases left and right. Kind of seems like they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yep.
What do you think, Andrew?
I'm thinking something really stupid right now, which is I'm thinking about like some fake lyrics. That's the SEC won't let me be me.
I mean, it used to basically like if you get sued by the SEC, that used to be like a death sentence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it's kind of like you're not anybody unless you've been sued by the SEC.
Yeah, kind of.
It's kind of like Giga Chad mode, right?
Well,
And everyone's like, we're going to fight against the SEC, like with court cases left and right. Before, there was no fighting against the SEC. Like, you got sued, you were fine.
yeah.
so I think this must be because the SEC's goals have changed. Like what we're used to, I think, like the standard, kind of a standard government practice is government won't bring a case unless they have a high confidence.
Yeah.
I think like usually like the public attorneys or the district attorneys or whatever it's called in that particular realm, like they want to have a high rate of success.
It's
like- But in this, it seems like the SEC is just trying to win case law and they're failing. They're trying to win cases for the purpose of developing case law and setting examples so that they can try to regulate their enforcement. And it seems like they're just failing.
Yeah,
They're just failing one after another, and they're establishing case law that is unfavorable to them.
they're trying to enforce legislation in crypto specifically recently for things that were never created or meant for crypto, and it's failing in court because it doesn't apply in the same way.
I mean, that's kind of just how the American government works, though. Like we don't make laws that often. Because we don't make laws that often, we end up interpreting, hundreds of year-old laws.
I mean, they're setting like you said, they're setting bad precedents for themselves. This is going to be used against them in the end if they keep doing it.
Yeah,
We make laws a lot more frequently than we remove laws, certainly. So
that's why we have them the last hundreds of years.
So it's like if you look at the number of laws, one of my biggest pet peeves in anything, but especially in crypto, is when people show cumulative charts. Where it's a straight up and to the right line, where like this chart, this metric can't go down because it's cumulative, right? So it looks like the protocol or the application or whatever is growing, but really it's just like the volume could be going down, the usage could be going down, but the usage over all time is like up and to the right because it's a cumulative chart. So anyway, cumulative charts. Anytime somebody gives you a cumulative chart, like it raises red flags. And
So the cumulative chart of the number of cases against crypto that the SEC has won is still technically going up and to the right.
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, I guess it is technically going up and to the right, even though their win rate is pretty bad. You'd think they'd pick some more easy ones, which they do sometimes, but
Well, the easy ones, not really SEC's place.
Easy ones are like trading
Fraud report for most of the easy ones, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. How are we doing with the audio? Does it sound good? People in chat, give us a 1 if our audio is great, a 2 if it's mediocre, and a 3 if it sucks, because we want to know.
We spent a good hour tweaking this, and we've learned so much. And
we're back to just the main one.
Yeah, we're back to the original setup. Okay.
I mean, there's about a 12-second chat lag. So
Okay. So I'll know shortly. Yeah, we got the next topic.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the SEC. No more. No more sports.
No more?
Let me be, let me be.
Anthony Andrew.
They're trying to shut me down on Google News.
I mean, we could move to the fact that Congress, or the House rather, this is Andrew territory. So obviously there's been a little bit of interesting movement about.
When did we turn into a political?
We're not.
We're
We haven't discussed a single political thing yet.
This is true.
I mean, okay. I guess.
So here's the thing.
Regulatory.
They're obviously sparring right now, trying to figure out who's going to be the majority House Speaker. I don't think there's any movement on this in terms of.
They're not really even sparring.
I mean, yeah, they're still just.
I'm not even paying attention.
Exactly.
It will start getting interesting when that 40-day time limit starts getting.
It's been almost a month without a Speaker of the House, which I think is the longest period of time in the history of the United States. The Speaker of the House is the third in line of the presidency, or actually the second after the Vice President, and we don't have one, so it's just skipping that.
So who does it go to next? So the Senate.
President pro tempore I thought was before Speaker. Yeah.
I'm not.
How many people does it have to go through before it gets to me? Several.
It's pretty far down.
Couple.
About 320 million.
I think like after you get through, if I'm remembering correct, like we don't need to talk about this. Like you go through the House people, the Senate people, and then you start going into the cabinet.
Yeah,
that's when it's serious. From the education secretary. Mm-hmm. No one knows who that is. They're in there. They're like in the first dozen or so. Anyway, so back to you, Chris. What you were saying?
I mean, I wanted to see if Jangle wanted to go parabolic on Elizabeth Warren, but I don't know if this is the day to do it. Because we're all together
I don't
having
need to. I'm preaching to the choir. Everybody here. Like, does anybody here like Elizabeth Warren?
All my homies hate Elizabeth
Yeah,
Warren.
all my homies hate Elizabeth Warren. So,
Do you think we're going to get a speaker? Do you think we're going to get a government shutdown? We're closing up on the time limit, right?
again,
Yeah, 2 weeks. No, was it November
You
15th?
asking Jangle or you asking me?
Asking you.
I think we're gonna get both. I think we're gonna get a speaker and a government shutdown.
a speaker, a government shutdown, a Bitcoin ETF.
Yep.
Sounds like a party to me.
So it's the speaker thing. It's there is not consensus in the Republican conference for who the speaker should be.
Yeah.
There was a moment which was interesting because this is something that I think we had mentioned or talked about previously. That Representative McHenry, there was a movement to say we're not going to make him speaker, but we're going to let him actually run the floor. Because right now he's interpreting his job is that the only thing he's presiding over is the election of the next speaker, and they're not doing anything else. So there's a world where they could technically not elect a speaker, but just change the rules so they don't actually have to have a speaker to run the House. Because it's weird, Congress is weird. They make up their own rules in a lot of ways for procedure, and a lot of things are just 100-year-old precedent. But I mean, government shutdown. I think it's going to come. I think it's less about whether or not there's a speaker, and it's just the playing of politics leading up to the 2024 election. Because once we get into this under a year mode, all bets are off because it's just playing a blame game. Yeah. The politicians, I think, don't actually care if things are running properly for the American people or not. They care about driving a narrative. And in my mind, Congress is only going to think that they need to avoid the catastrophe if they think that they are going to get blamed for it. And because we have opposing parties in the White House and Congress,
They blame each other.
well, usually the president is blamed for everything because Americans, in my mind, Americans are not that smart about how government actually works.
Whoa!
No, they're not.
The Patriot. I have to push back on that.
Well, I think our civic education is bad. Most people don't understand the branches of government.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably a pretty fair generalization. The branches of government part, not the
There's a reason.
stupid.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why we have so many people that vote in presidential elections than midterms, and that's because they think the president is much more powerful,
And because the amount of ad spend really just goes crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess this is a lot of words to say. Who knows?
Who cares, right?
Well, it does impact a lot of things. So
Yeah, but does it impact long term? In 10 years from now, will it matter if there was a government shutdown for a few weeks? For the good of this industry.
So, well,
Because it's an international industry, right? And we're kind of the United States is really not necessarily leading the charge as much on it anymore.
I think it could matter.
Okay.
so in recent history, government shutdowns have had minimal impacts on the markets because we've just been, we've been playing chicken with this so much that it's just I think the bigger deal and how it impacts our industry is around U.S. debt obligations and particularly the ratings, right? So if there is a ratings downgrade, which has happened before,
Recently.
another ratings downgrade, conversations about a ratings downgrade.
It makes that more expensive, which means it pushes rates higher.
Mm-hmm.
But if people want to preserve their purchasing power, what else are they going to buy besides U.S. Treasuries?
I don't know.
When there's no, but if there's a Bitcoin ETF, how about that?
Yeah, that's an option.
Some might call that a flight to quality.
Could be.
Some might.
What if they decide that they would prefer to buy Polygon's Paul token?
Oh man, that's what I want to be. Exit liquidity for Polygon Labs or the Polygon Foundation. Which one is it? They probably got both.
Probably, yeah.
Probably both. But the Polygon 2.0 contracts are now live on ETH mainnet, which means that POL is going to launch soon. Part of their whole vision on having one token to power the entire super net service that they're offering.
Super net. Right now, it's really just Polygon POS. That's all we use, right? And it's Polygon
mechanism,
CK,
right, for the Polygon Matic token.
That's
to
correct.
This new one.
Yeah.
What is the foundation going to do with their billions of Polygon tokens?
That's
Well,
a
this
great
doesn't
question.
change that, right?
No, it doesn't.
It's they probably can sell it for money.
Yeah, it really sounds like they literally just want to exit it. That's what it sounds like.
Well, they also want to change. I mean, that's what everybody who launches a useless token wants. But it sounds like they also want the name of their exit liquidity generating token to match their current brand.
I mean, the foundation wallets are public and they have insane amounts.
Yeah, no,
of
it's
Matic token, like unlocked, sitting in their wallets.
Yeah, I checked near the cycle bottom, and it was like over $1 billion worth of liquid sellable.
Yeah.
Available.
Like anytime there's any movement on that wallet, like markets just panic.
Yeah.
Specifically for the Polygon token.
It's like printing your own money, but you can't sell any. Or the market.
Well, it does, like they had a long vesting period on it, but a lot of that vesting is over, and they're just sitting on it because they can't sell it. It would be too bad PR.
I just at this stage in the cycle, I do not understand why anybody would own something with this supply profile when you could own Bitcoin or ETH. I just do not understand the thought process of buying. So I mean, Polygon, cool technology, like Polygon CK EVM.
Yeah, I like the chain.
Very cool. Polygon POS was awesome. It is awesome. I mean, they've got some upgrades to do, certainly, in terms of trustlessness and actually ultimately settling to Ethereum and giving users lots of ability to not be rugged by the POS chain. But I think their heart's in the right place. That being said, it's an absolute shitcoin.
Tech good, token bad.
Yeah, it's an absolute shitcoin. No matter what it's called, right? The tokenomics was bad. I think exchanges will probably handle most of this upgrade, right? Because I'm sure a lot of the liquid volume or the liquid tokens that aren't sitting in the foundation's wallet are on centralized exchanges who will just do the upgrade when people deposit Matic. They'll draw POL. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
POL.
Yeah, it's a swap, I think.
Yeah. So it's like, the whole USDC, USDCE thing, the native and non-native assets. It eventually somewhat works itself out, but there is a painful transitional period where liquidity is fragmented and it just sucks. But, it's not a big deal if you don't want to buy this token to begin with, which is where I'm at.
Are you using this opportunity to tease an airdrop? Because it seems like they're maybe missing out on a great opportunity.
Haven't they been talking about a CK airdrop for ages now?
Maybe they'll call it Paul too.
They did tweet. Somebody tweeted that they can still have an airdrop even if it's already a token, just to fuel the airdrop speculation. But
Yeah, they got $1 billion of Paul tokens.
I don't think they're changing the tokenomics, right? It's just the name, just new wrapper on the same thing.
I think they are changing tokenomics.
Yeah, the tokenomics are different.
Oh my!
Ooh, airdrop time.
It might be. I mean,
Yeah,
users
that's definitely the catalyst to get this done because they've had Matic for what's it been, like 2 years since they changed the name to Polygon?
3
years. Why did they do this 2 years ago or 1 year ago? One, it's not that important, and two,
I mean,
airdrop speculation.
1 or 2 years ago, they only had the one Polygon network as well, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
They decided it was time to get back into that news cycle.
Mm-hmm. And the news cycle specifically around airdrop adjacent speculation. Like there is a lot of value for these networks to be had in stoking airdrop speculation in order to pump their metrics. Because a lot of people outside the industry don't realize that most of the transaction volume on chain is total fugazi.
Yeah.
Teasing an airdrop seems a lot more profitable than actually doing it.
Oh yeah, I mean, teasing an airdrop is one of the most successful business models in
And I
space
mean,
right
I think Layer Zero has been doing a pretty good job of that for a long time.
now. Oh yeah.
I'm still excited about Layer Zero.
Yeah.
How about consensus?
I can almost, we spoke with the gentleman from one of those teams recently. I can almost feel him waking.
I did not get that impression, but I think there's a moral conflict between people who want to stoke airdrop speculation, but they don't want to be liars, and promise people things that are ultimately not going to come true. And then, of course, there is also a lot of times it does come true because it's a great liquidity event for the team. And it's a good way to reduce your risk of enforcement because you're not, it's not an IPO, it's an airdrop. We gave it out for free.
So are we bullish on Polygon?
Tech good, token bad.
Tech good, token bag?
Well, we haven't even read the new tokenomics yet.
Yeah,
It might be.
but I'm assuming they're not just gonna burn their one, or their multi-billion. At one point I looked and it was just over $1 billion USD in Matic token that I saw that was liquid and available. They're
Maybe
not just gonna burn that.
maybe they're going to change the tokenomics so that their stack is worth more.
I don't know what they're going to do, but I think that the probability of it outperforming BTC or ETH in the short term is very low, and the medium term is very low, and the long term is extremely low.
Extremely low.
I mean, if it's not high or low in the short or medium term, it's just not going to happen.
I mean, maybe there might be a period in time during the market, next market cycle where even things like Polygon are going to be outperforming ETH because we saw that last cycle, but it is a point where there is a lot of risk appetite. Whereas right now we're seeing some appetite for risk come back, but only to the majors and only really to Bitcoin in a major way. So
Yeah, I think during bull markets is about 95% speculation, and during bear market is about 75-80% speculation that determines token prices really.
yeah.
But it's still high. It's still mostly speculation.
Yeah.
Well, ADA still has a $10 billion market cap.
Well, I don't believe that's true.
It does.
Well, I don't believe that's actually $10 billion in it.
I mean,
I said market cap.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's and what is Ripple's market cap? Probably somewhat similar.
Oh, much more. It's 29 billion.
Oh my goodness, Ripple has a $29 billion market cap.
Uh-huh.
That is greater than twice the valuation of Coinbase.
And what's the total available liquidity for that? That's the real question.
Ripple has a greater than 2x valuation than Coinbase.
Market cap, not evaluation. But yeah,
Well, yeah, market cap.
that's what the fair market thinks it's worth.
I mean, Dogecoin is kind of catching up with.
What are the funding rates on shorting Ripple? Like, can you just? How does that work? Well, can you short against BTC? Are there options, protocols that allow you to do perps not based on the dollar price, but based on their ETH or BTC pairs?
I mean, you could probably do that in a manual trade.
Because they
Yeah,
could, you'd have
that's
to
a cool
admit-
DeFi product, though, right?
Yeah.
Why doesn't that exist?
I've
That's
seen
what I want.
a lot of people do with the upcoming Bitcoin ETF groups and things like that. There's a lot of people doing the long Bitcoin, short ETH trade to, I mean, pseudo delta neutral is even generous to call it that, but yeah, because they're expecting the BTC ETH ratio to continue to skew towards Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you did that earlier, great. You do it at 0.05
Might be late to the party.
BTC. It's a little overcrowded. It's a little late to the party.
It's like buying a gigantic green candle,
Yeah.
shorting a gigantic red candle.
Yeah.
There is momentum in that direction, but there could also be a huge bounce.
Yeah.
So,
So
orange coin good.
Always has been.
Orange coin good. So is this truly what October is going to be? What they keep saying is October, or is there more left?
Looks like it. Looks like it.
Like, what are the ripple effects? Obviously, that's what a lot of people are looking at. Like, obviously, Solana reclaimed $33.
Yeah, how about that?
I did not have that on my bingo card. So
I
back
mean,
into 2023.
Soul's got asymmetric upside for sure, but it's just again, they haven't solved the money thing. Like, I don't feel comfortable having a large, but this is consensus, right? And you make a lot of money being, betting against consensus and being correct. So it's consensus for me to say, hey, Soul's tokenomics aren't nearly as attractive as something like Bitcoin or ETH. It is, a high rate of inflation, and it has no fundamental value pool. There's very low fees, it's very low revenue generated by the protocol, and it's quite frankly like not the vision of the future in terms of network infrastructure and modularity that I see as likely. But that doesn't mean you can't rip. That doesn't mean a whole bunch of people can't buy it.
Asymmetric upside also exposes you to the same for the downside.
Sorry, that's me.
Yeah.
Well, that's a weird interruption. Sorry about that. That's my glucose monitor.
You got too much of it?
I must have.
We got another topic? I mean,
We do. So the issue is, specifically, one that I thought that was interesting, because then we're obviously happy you're here, but from a global perspective, what do we do from the perspective that the UK has dropped these interesting new crypto regulations that are forcing, like no new buying, like, for example, let me put this up here. This is fresh. Executives in UK and France for Binance are leaving. UK is no.
It's the UK. That's probably.
Well, no, they're not allowed to. Binance UK no longer allowed to receive new UK money.
Yeah, I posted the email I got from Binance last week as well, I think.
Yeah.
So I think you can, as long as you have your account, you're fine, but they probably won't.
Oh, no new
accept any
members.
new ones, yeah. And also, any kind of services that you're using on Binance already, you can continue using, but you can't start using it after this date. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Not all regulation is good. UK seems to be doing more in terms of looking at crypto and trying to regulate for it than the US currently is. But whether that's going to end up being good or bad for the UK or for the global crypto trade, we'll have to see. It depends what kind of regulation they're trying to enforce.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big issue. I think it's going to be a bigger issue as we start. We talked 6 months ago about MiCA, the EU law that's going into effect in 2024. I mean, obviously, technically, England is not part of the EU anymore.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see different levels of regulation here. So while this pump is euphoric, could it cause less people to come in on it? Because obviously, if you're outside of the US, finance is a really good way to get in.
They'll find a way.
Well, UK has a history of doing interesting financial things and setting very lenient laws in order to get a large percentage of global trade in the past. So if there's unfavorable crypto regulation in the rest of the world, and there is a lot of money that could be made on facilitating some of these trades, I think they will. I mean, at least the current sitting PM is very favorable towards crypto in public statements.
This is true, but he also so Sunak, is that his name?
Yeah.
Is he still big on CBDC, or is he kind of flipped on that position? Or
I think he is. I don't stay up to date on what he's saying day to day, but
yeah, I mean, obviously the global, like the global center of what's going on is obviously changing. Obviously, hopefully, US gets some crypto regs to kind of at least make the path a little bit more rigid on what will and won't happen. Obviously, we'll have to wait till probably January 2024 to have any clarity on this situation, but
That's optimistic.
that's very optimistic. Yeah, that's for sure.
Probably 2026.
Hey, maybe we'll get it tomorrow.
Maybe we will. That would be kind of crazy if next week they just like, yeah, sure, go ahead, and then the floodgates open, and then people go.
I think on a Bitcoin ETF is possible, but on a regulatory framework for building DeFi applications, no, we're toast.
I'll take the under on that.
Yeah,
We'll take the under. That's fair. I had something I wanted to bring up with specifically for Bitcoin. We'll talk about it for a quick second. I don't know if it's completely newsworthy, but there's a friend tech guy who dumped half his keys to jump into what's now Bitcoin L2 DApp called New Bitcoin City, which is a friend tech fork.
that is probably. I mean, just the idea of dumping a bunch of your friend tech keys and then moving that capital immediately into a friend tech competitor seems kind of a bit like market manipulation in a way.
Seems that way, right?
Yeah.
Market manipulation.
Yeah, on your own market.
So if I sell my friend tech keys, I'm manipulating markets.
I don't think your friend tech keys have a market, Andrew.
Oh, like your friend tech.
What if they did? Yeah.
But if they
What
did,
if they did?
then perhaps, yeah.
I don't know if I would call it.
I'm gonna go sell one of your keys right
All
now.
right. Well, thanks for the transaction fee, nerd.
Yeah, I want to say he earned 1.5 million in ETH for selling his keys.
Yeah,
And then
but he's
killing
also the
the
first
people.
buyer on this new platform, so he's
So-
just gonna dump on them. as
Yeah,
well.
he's gonna dump on the next bat idiots as well. But
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, SocialFi is fairly on fire right now, and
is it like
I mean,
in a good way or a bad way?
it's kind of mid in my opinion.
The
you
whole
know?
concept of friend tech is weird to me. If they made it so that you only earn transaction fees and you didn't get any of your own keys, you couldn't even buy your own keys. Maybe it would be
Yeah.
less weird if you can dump your own keys on other people. If you literally just got like ETH transaction fees and you never actually got any of the keys, then that seems like a more sustainable thing to me.
It needs work. The
Yeah.
model needs work, but hey, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool concept.
Andrew's literally selling my keys right now.
Are you really?
I'm watching him sell my
Harsh.
keys.
I'm DCAing out.
Maybe
Oh my
maybe you're gonna
gosh.
get front 100.
Oh,
Better
no.
hurry.
Yeah, you better not get botted on that. All right.
Well,
Well,
cold.
I can't believe we're gonna end on that. That's cold. That's okay.
I was just rebalancing my portfolio. I'm just a little on.
He didn't hit the button.
I did.
Oh my
You did.
gosh. He did.
Selling my friend tech keys right in front of my face.
Technically one key.
Okay.
Technically one.
So I still have time
I
to
mean, he
exit.
did buy keys to be fair. So.
He did. And
Oh,
a true
you sure
friend,
did.
a true friend stabs you in the front, right? Isn't that what the saying is? So
I suppose.
I mean,
friend.
he didn't even buy one of my keys.
Well, you're not giving a lot of value in that.
So you don't know. You haven't done that.
I guess
Yeah, how would you know?
I guess you're
I've been doing daily posts.
really.
well, if you guys are using friend tech, let us know who we should buy. Because
I'm not buying it.
I'm not saying that I am either, but
I'm not buying anybody.
I'm trying to get the
I'm only
algorithm.
shilling my own. I don't 3-3.
I never made an account.
None of that.
Nah. Well, according to this, you can make an account in one click, and they take BTC, ETH, and AVAX. So, I mean, obviously, no
I
endorsement for
don't.
that.
I don't want an account.
There you go. That's a different story. You don't want an account. I mean, it's a new level of degeneracy, in my opinion. But there are some people who are using it.
Are you
for-
selling more keys?
No, I was looking. I was checking on my portfolio. I buy one.
Why are you? We're filming a podcast. Why are you checking your friend tech portfolio while we're filming a
It's
podcast?
about friend tech. I'm talking about friend tech.
You're trying to live demo it.
No, No, he's just trying to upset
Maybe
me.
he's got some good
Not even true.
Well, Django, you take us home, sir.
Well, live from Miami. You've been awesome. We've been Beacon.
if you're in the community, we'll still be live from here for the Friday Q&A this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So look forward to that.
Yeah, probably not from right here. Probably from a secondary, undisclosed secondary location
In paradise.
in Paradise. I'm hungry. I think we'll probably need some food.
Yeah, sounds good.
We might blow up some tannerite after this. Maybe not. Maybe so. And what else? We got a lot of folks coming in today, tomorrow, and throughout the week to visit us. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like if you haven't liked already. Hit the notification bell if you want to know right when we are live streaming anything over the coming days. We've got a few pieces of content in store and a lot of friends who are going to be meeting us. So maybe some of them will buy the keys that Andrew is dumping from my friend tag. So
Hey, I sold it, so they're probably going to go up now.
that's true. That's a good counter trade, counter signal. What do they call that in the TA world?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
You know, they should definitely hit that bell though, because we might have some spontaneous live streams while we're out here.
Can I go down to neutral on your front keynote?
Yeah, how are we gonna hedge Jangle's key?
Can you? Well, if you market make the keys, then do I get the transaction fees? Is that a thing that people do? Is there other like pools, like liquidity pools for that?
I might see if I can deposit
Do
some
we
of
have
these keys into a lending market
What's
for you.
one protocol doing synthetic front keys? What's
Yeah, it's on base.
Yeah.
It's on Aerodrome. They're having.
I don't like that because sort of
I know
like
velocity.
synthetic Bitcoin trading, you can have capital inflows, but if the capital inflows aren't buying spot, then the price doesn't go up. So why would I want people trading my synthetic keys when they could just be driving my price up?
So everybody, if you want synthetic Jangle keys, you can follow Jangle2 on Twitter,
Oh, really?
which doesn't exist to the best of my knowledge.
Oh, it probably doesn't now.
And all of Jangle's private posts will be reposted.
Okay. There aren't really.
It's the layer 2 Jangle front end.
There's the friend. I'll be honest, my friend tech chapter is pretty bare minimum. So
maybe that's what you said.
Yeah, I haven't given that
Wow.
value.
Wow.
yeah, fair.
I like those daily permissionless reports, but then it just fell off.
That's the free market for you.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna be at East Miami and you see us, say hi.
Give us a shout. Yeah, let us know.
Thanks for coming, everybody. It's been fun. We'll make sure to get the audio really hammered out before the other live streams, but I think this is okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
It worked. That's all that mattered.
thanks for coming. Talk to you soon.
Oh,
07.
7. We're out.